today. Now I see what kind of
Do you staff based on that number?
We often will come and look at this and decide whether or not we need to flex some of the staff over or out. So yes, we do.
So when you decided to reprioritize and having the food delivered on time and less time rework, did you have to reallocate your resources to have more runners and fewer food service people, or?
Yes, we did. Once we decided to do room service, we had to reallocate some staff. We had to add a little staff, but you know the interesting thing about that was we reduced because of lean, and then we added a few more because of room service, but in the end I actually have less than I did in 2008.
Okay.
Go figure it. I don't know how that worked. That kind of surprised me too when I did this. Yes?
I wanted to point out the reason, I guess, it sounds like your group was really ready to benefit from the metric boards and I guess the Hell board next.
I agree.
Because of all the journey you've been on for several years. The group in that project with the daily management system, the group that I worked with had not had the benefit, and we were springing into this on them cold, and they were not nearly as successful. So it's a testament to all the work that you've done over the last few years that Huddle board and metric boards were really able to be so useful to you. So.
Well, thank you. We actually love them. In fact, we have, I know at Crest Downtown, we actually have 2 sets for 2 different groups. And we do also have the boards at every single site. Casement, the PAC cafeteria, and also Russ Medical Center. There's also a second board that is also used, and that's really for employee suggestions. And it really starts out with a little piece of paper that's kind of about the size of a Post-it note. You fill it out, and you put your idea up on the board. We actually do it once a week. We do Improvement Fridays, and we'll pull out that little piece of paper, we'll read it to the group, have a little bit of a conversation, what do you guys think, any ideas, see if there's anything generated, and we'll either put it in a square that says we're just going to do it. We're a department that's all about just doing it, because that's kind of how we are. But if it was something a little bit bigger or broader, we would put it into a PDSA box. Then later you'll come back and we'll say, oh, we just did it, and we'll review, what do you guys think? Did it work? Do we like it? Are we keeping it? And if we decide that we do like it, great, then it moves to celebration. And if not, we might put it back and have another review. Or, you know, it didn't work as good as we thought. Why do you think that was? But it's, we've actually received more suggestions probably in the last year since using this board than we have in the 8 years that I've been there.
How often do you evaluate that?
We do it every week, every Friday. So some of the challenges that I mentioned to you as we were looking for our productivity, we actually went from 82% to 100% in 2009. And now, to be honest with you, I run at 125 to 141% productivity. I'm off the charts.
How do you get over 100%?
I don't know, that's what the tool said.
It's based on a benchmark, you know. We set a benchmark based on similar organizations across the country, and said you should be achieving this many hours of work per patient or per trade.
Okay, it's based on a guesstimate
Yeah.
when you're.
So if you exceed that,
Yeah.
then you're at over 100%.
Yes.
So what I was told was that basically what this is saying is that based on this standard that many food service accounts are following, we actually do better than the majority. We exceed, and we actually attribute that to really what we learned from Lean. We were able to improve our temperatures. We improved by 4% in 2009 and 9% by 2012. We have improved patient satisfaction. In fact, it's the highest score that they've ever had in 140 years. We have a very engaged workforce, and that is not always easy with a group that has cultural differences and language differences and generational differences. But you know, it's great to see cooks go up to the actual huddle board and they'll talk about the temperatures, or the diet aids where they get together and they'll talk about, oh, this didn't work quite right, and they'll brainstorm and they'll write it up on the board. So I'm really excited about that, in that I really feel that it was bottom driven and it wasn't just top driven. We did work with the confines of the current kitchen, and we're able to add room service with, actually when we flipped the switch for room service, I actually didn't even have to ask for any additional money, because we had planned for that all along. And then for 2010, when we opened up room service for Russ Medical Center, we were feeling like we had it all figured out. We had processes in place, so it was more of a drop in place and just sit back and go, yay, we're all good.
It worked right off. My wife was one of the first 2 patients there.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, very good.
by God, I mean, they were doing it. Just
Yeah.
like they've been doing it forever. You know?
Because that's all, it's just the way we run. So if you looked at our department now, we still do 3 meals a day, although I don't know that I would say 3 meals a day, because we do room service, so we do meals all day. We still have a cafeteria. We were able to open the new coffee shop, hugely successfully. In fact, we're just approved to open another one at one of our other outlets. We still do the physician lounge, we still do catering. Our 2013 volume, our patient meals was 413,000. And our total meals in 2012, we actually did 2.3 million meals. And I did that with 81 FTEs, so actually I was 8 less. So.
What does that lobby coffee shop mean? You've had the Subway thing there for years.
Oh, I don't run the Subway. Not yet.
Huh?
Not yet. No, that's actually contracted out for the Subway, but there's a new coffee shop over near the parking garage, near where that piano is.
Where the piano? Yeah.
Just right next to it. It's called Cafe Espresso. We offer Starbucks and organic salads
Oh,
and
no kidding.
sandwiches. Yes, it's been hugely successful for us. I would tell you that lean was the best thing that ever happened to our department in 104 years. I can do things that no one could imagine doing before, whether it be serving the entire city all on the same day for our 100-year celebration versus, we actually served all of the people at Press Downtown all at the same time in 8 different locations without a hitch. We don't know how to think without using lean, and I don't mean that just by myself. I know even staff members, we hear them doing the lean lingo. We did a department meeting in October and December. We had a little fun game that we put together for our staff, and I have to tell you, I was just emotionally excited that I had so many employees engaged in answering the questions, and they were all correct, and they would challenge each other and say, oh no, that isn't quite lean because you didn't do this or you didn't do this. And the most incredible part was it wasn't even like the people that would have had the most education. Actually, my dish room people were all-stars at every single facility. So we love it. We'll never give it back, ever.
So how do you share best practices between your locations?
Most of our locations, as far as Albuquerque, we're all part of the same team. We all collaborate. We often do, when we do our quarterly audits for our lean audit, we actually, the first part of the year, quarter 1, you do it yourself, but second and third quarter, we actually have you switch. So the person at Casement will go do Russ Medical Center, and the person at Russ Medical Center will be Press Downtown, and that way they can share best practices, and you come away and learn a lot from that. And then the quarter 4 one is usually done by the green belts that are in the department, just to make sure that we're all on the up and up kind of thing.
Now, when you're just servicing your patients, you probably have some kind of projection regarding how many are cardiac and will be on this diet, but when you're doing a free-for-all like that for the public, how do you predict what quantities will be that you'll need, for raw products?
We do all of our food products just in time, just like a restaurant that you're eating in today. It's set up very similarly to a restaurant. And so it really comes down to making sure you have all the ingredients ready to go. We have a general idea based on the census that we have, and we actually have a grid that kind of gives them an idea of how much they might need if they have this much volume or this much volume or this much volume. And so they use that to forecast their production.
But do you also have just-in-time delivery from a grocery store if you're short on one
Well, the great thing about being Presbyterian is that we're one of the big dogs in the
Wholesaler.
yard, so I am able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need this. But we don't have that happen too often. I have a very great big storeroom and a big walk-in. So most of the things that we have, the menu that we built were items that were really basic. Most people want comfort food when they're in the hospital, not something that's really, too off the wall. So it's not that difficult to fix. However, we do have many patients that do ask for specifics, maybe things I may not have right now today, but we'll go get it. I know I have one lady that wanted liver and onions. I don't carry liver, but we went and had it for the next day. And that's just part of, I don't know, it's part of what we do. So, did you have another question? You look like
No,
you're
I'm just,
always-
as a consumer or a customer or, a patient, this is, what you're telling us is so transparent. For example, the filling out the card, ordering, you've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I don't remember the way it used to be,
Oh, no? We don't either, except when we see pictures like
It
this.
just
in
seems like
Presbyterian.
everything just runs fine.
Well, the weird thing is, when we were doing a lean project and we took the pictures and we took the videos and you see them and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I walk right by that all these years and I accepted it? Or I might have tweaked it a bit thinking I really made a big change and I really didn't. And now to look back, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe where we've been. But this team has really worked long and hard, and I will tell you, I would challenge anybody in town that this is one of the best food service operations in town, and by far one of the best hospitals in the state. So. Any other questions? Thank you very much, Terry.
Well, as a member, I think you guys should be a national example for other hospitals.
Oh, thank you.